Hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for this Sydney and Melbourne final live festival roundup and our very first one for London Liftoff. I can already see we've got quite a few of you in the chat room. Thank you so much for introducing yourselves and shouting out the names of your projects. We've got Cigar, whose film EINS is in the festival. We've got Munir, whose film The Leap is in London Liftoff. We've got the producer of The Fourth Room and Commuter's Dream, and we've got Mai Kepsh, who's also in the chat room. Do take this opportunity to ask any questions as well. I'll be here to answer anything you've got, but also do just introduce yourself like these guys have done. So yeah, I can't believe it. Time has flown, and this is now the final roundup for Sydney and Melbourne because the festival is closing on Monday at 10 p.m. GMT. So you've got until then to place your audience choice votes if you haven't already, which is what we're going to run through today. But remember, we have jury who are running through all of the programmes. This is a complete new jury to those that selected the films and curated the programme in the first place. And they are watching every film on each of the programmes and deciding who are going to be their jury finalists. So we'll be announcing those along with the audience choice finalists at the same time. And that goes for the same for London, except that festival, of course, we know we're in the earlier stages. That's not closing until January the 3rd. Whereas Melbourne and Sydney, we've got the final days now, which is always really cool looking at the final statistics, but things still change in the last few days. We've always seen this. There's always lots of activity. And as you'll see here when I read out the stats, we're missing quite a few votes, outstanding votes. And of course, no one has to vote if they don't want to, but anybody who purchases a festival ticket has the right to vote for their two favourite films to be an audience choice finalist, if they please. Hello, before we start, let's have a look at Jack Green, whose Burning Letters is screening. Christian Gordine has said hello. He's the director of Wank. Phil Gone Pictures, the project is A Humanist. There we go. And there we go. Jack says, I haven't seen Wank, but I'm sold already. There we go. Cigar says, will you be sending us the public voting link on Monday? Cigar, just message us on support@liftoff.network because everyone should have their filmmaker comps ticket now. That's always sent out the Friday before festival goes live on the Monday. Christian said the film isn't as crass as it sounds. And hello to Kate, who is the director of Blind Corners. Okay, so like I said, feel free to carry on introducing. I'll try and give shout outs. But what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at the statistics behind each of these programmes. I always love looking at this. We look at things like the number of playthroughs of films, which is super interesting. We look at geographical demographics. Always really cool, and I think one of the real positives that's come from this crazy last 2 years is just how much further these films have been able to reach. We always get an incredible statistic at the end of each festival from where the festival has been watched from, as opposed to, of course, just in that city. So that's been a really nice thing to keep our eye on. We'll also look at the number of viewers on each programme and the number of people that have voted. So we'll be able to see what that outstanding figure is so far. So yeah, let's take a look first at the features programme for Sydney and Melbourne, and then we'll move on to London. So this features programme has had 57 people watching, 39 of who have voted. So as always, like I said, you've got that little leeway there. And there's still until Monday, 10 p.m. GMT to get your votes in. 514 playthroughs, which I say it every time, and so I'm sorry if you've heard me say this again and again, but always worth repeating. For feature films, that's not the number of hours, that's the number of playthroughs of films. So that adds up. I'm not going to do the maths because I'm terrible and I'd let you down, but that adds up to a lot of hours of indie film watching, which we love. So thank you so much and keep it up. But as of this morning, the film leading the way still is Devi, a drama thriller from India directed by Ashwin A. Matthew. And this is Three Devi is a riveting story of three women, a leading actress, an entrepreneur and bride-to-be, and an assistant director who are fed up of the male chauvinism in their respective fields. So if you haven't seen this yet and you fancy a bit of girl power, watch this one. And then we've got the Adventures at Comic-Con, which is now in second place on 6 votes. This is from the USA, an experimental doc directed by Jason Brown. This film documents the adventures of experiencing the 2012 San Diego Comic-Con for the first time through musical soundscapes while honouring the legacy of pop culture and its pioneers. Now, Natalie and myself actually went to our first Comic-Con in London this year, and one of our dreams, because San Diego is the world's largest Comic-Con, is to go there one year, just to see what it's like. If anyone in the chat room has been to a Comic-Con before and loved it, let me know. Or if you haven't, watch this film to get a little taster. So there we go, those are the features programmes. On to then our shorts, and starting with our Judges Select Shorts, which has had 81 viewers, 798 playthroughs. So it'll be really interesting to see what we finish on after a final rush of watching films this weekend. People have been watching from 12 different countries. In fact, all 4 of these programmes from Australia have had the highest number of views from Australia and New Zealand, but then they've all had lots of views from, interestingly, the UK, Canada, the USA, and then a few other places too. Like, this programme has been watched from Peru and Brazil. We love to see it. But currently in pole position is Other on 15 votes. And this is an American film, actually, directed by Jay Arkansalin. Other is the story of 2 half-Chinese sisters forced to work together to save their late father's American dream. As they experience daily racial comments about their ethnic ambiguity, they discover a way to own their identity and heal. So these are both films that were rated very highly, and I encourage you to check them out. Sticks and Strings is just 2 votes behind that on 13, directed by Luke Antoon, which is a coming-of-age musical. Casey's only dream in life is to learn the guitar, but when her brother refuses to teach her, she must go to whatever lengths possible to connect with him once more. So that's our Judges Select Shorts. On to then our Trendsetter Shorts, which has had 84 viewers, 62 votes have been cast, so 22 votes outstanding. 994 playthroughs, so we are going to hit the 1,000 barrier, and I don't know why, but we always say there's something about that just feels great. So in fact, that might have already happened in the few hours that we recorded these stats since. Let's just say it has. And people have been watching from 12 countries. So in pole position at the moment is Bloom, directed by Paul Desank, which is a comedy student short from Australia. Bloom tells the light-hearted comedic tale of Betty, an elderly woman whose rich inner life belies her seemingly conventional appearance. And then we've got Cheap Rent on 10 votes, directed by Seb Bardui Thompson, another student film, but this time a dark comedy horror. Busy tidying up for a house inspection, the last thing Charlie was expecting to find was another dead body on his living room floor. So there you go. And then the final programme of the Sydney and Melbourne Festival is our new voice shorts, all consisting of one of the earliest credits of either the director or the producer. And this has been watched by 97 people this month. 883 playthroughs, again, fantastic figures. 89 votes are in, and it's been viewed from 9 different countries. And leading the way pretty much from the beginning of the festival is The Little Bird, which is now on 21 votes. This is from the USA and is directed by Neil Gopalan-Halsey. 2 vignettes of a boy's life connected through memory. And then in second place is a film that we haven't mentioned before, which is always nice. This is The Other Loss, which is on 18 votes, and it's directed by Hayley Johnson, which is an Australian student short. The Other Loss is a dramatic short film about a sudden and unexpected death of a young man and the impact of grief on his 2 friends, Amelia and Sienna. Which draws to a conclusion are 4 Australian programmes. I'm just going to see if we've got any other sort of shout outs in the chat room. We've got Mike, whose film is Infernal Nebula. We've got, and then the other people we've already said, we've got Kate there. Fantastic. And thank you to Mike, who says there's some really great stuff in the festival. And always lovely to hear. It means a lot for people to see people engaging and enjoying other people's work. Interestingly, when we first sort of migrated to this online festival system, when COVID first hit back in March 2020, we tried different durations for the festivals. We tried 1 week, we tried 2 weeks, and the feedback we got was that people just weren't managing to get through the films. And of course we wanted to change that, which is why we've now been running them for a month. So really nice to hear when people make their way through a lot of them. So thank you for that. So just to recap for the final time, Sydney and Melbourne finishes on the 20th, that's next Monday at 10 p.m. GMT. And then on Wednesday, we will be announcing which films, both the jury selections and the audience choice selections, will be moving through to the network round. And they will be competing for live screenings at an Australian festival next year, one of our liftoffs, season award nominations, where you could be picking up one of these, and the audience choice award, which is where the filmmakers join us on YouTube. The film screen's muted in the background, and we have a really nice free-flowing roundtable conversation, which is always really great because you hear insights, you hear anecdotes, and it's just another way of learning and growing together as a filmmaking community, which is what it's all about for us. So on to then London. So we're going to do the exact same thing if you're new to us here. We're going to be running through the different statistics, which we'll see build and build over the next few weeks before the festival ends on the 3rd of January. So starting with our Judges Select features, which has had 33 people watching so far, 13 votes in, and we're on 247 playthroughs already. But the film currently in top position is Locked Down, Locked In, which is on 5 votes. And this is directed by Baris Kelliglu. It's an experimental documentary, which is from the UK, but filmed in a huge number of countries, including Australia, Greece, Italy, Poland, Russia, Spain, and Turkey. And this is really cool. This is something a little bit different. So it's an international digital project consisting of 8 half-an-hour episodes, which are monologues and short films. And in their statement, they say that it's an artistic response inspired by the testimonies of real women who were experiencing domestic violence during lockdown. And sadly, as we've seen, this has been something that's been a real problem during lockdown in all countries over the world. And we've seen a few really interesting artistic responses to it, and it's a pleasure to have this as another one. And again, we've got a female theme here. We've got Her Stories, which is just behind on 3 votes, which is actually a documentary from Syria. Really nice to see work from different parts of the world. We always say that. And the director is Abdelkader Habak. After 10 years of the war in Syria, 3 women have managed to break cultural barriers and become someone they never thought they could be before the revolution. So if you want to feel empowered, go and watch this documentary. It's brilliant. And then tied on 3 votes is also Low Rollers, something very different, a feature directed by Jack Gruar from the UK. A bunch of corrupt cops in a quiet northern town become embroiled in a sinister revenge plot following the release of notorious criminal Marvin Shaw. And it's really cool that we're screening this because we actually screened one of his first feature before this at our liftoff sessions, probably like 3 years ago now, and that ended up winning that month's edition of the festival. So Jack came here to Pinewood and we screened the film and we sort of gave notes and had feedback, and it's been really, really interesting to see him on his next projects. So it's great to see this film here. Brilliant. On to then our Trendsetter features, which has had 47 viewers, 24 votes in so far, 304 playthroughs, and people are watching from 13 different countries. And currently, top of that voting tally for the audience choice is the opening act, which is Gary J. Katz's documentary, The Extraordinary Journey of James Lee Stanley. So people are loving the documentaries, these festivals, which is, again, always really cool to see. We're screening all different genres across all of these programmes, which is really exciting. And then on 5 votes, we have A Year in the Pit, A Voyage into Music Photography, which is from the USA. It's another documentary directed by John M. Woody. A Year in the Pit, A Voyage into Music Photography is a 1-hour documentary about still photographers commonly found front stage in the pit at music festivals. Shooting in the pit requires intense split-second decisions to capture the ultimate on-stage moment. And this is a fascinating documentary. I'm sure everyone has seen those incredible photos of their favourite bands or artists, and you just think, how was that shot got? And I know exactly what they must be talking about with the split decisions, because it is stressful enough as just a festival goer to be in that pit front row sometimes. So yeah, if this is something that you're interested in, go and check it out. And then we have Let the Music Play, again, along the music themes. This is a music documentary from the USA also, directed by Kate Megan and Heather Douterive. This is a feature-length doc by Daily Boom Media on COVID-19's crushing impact on the music industry, as seen through the eyes of artists, musicians, promoters, venue owners, merchandisers, and Save Our Stages NIVA ambassadors. So you've got 2 music educating films there to go and check out. Who doesn't love a music doc? So, judges select shorts now. We're on to our 3 shorts programs, which all have incredible figures already. So we've got 120 people watching our judges select shorts programs. We're on 691 playthroughs thus far. People are watching this program from 18 different countries, and we're on 77 votes. And in first place, as we speak, is From Under the Bridge, When Bullies Become Trolls, directed by Paul James Houghton from the USA. This is on a staggering 36 votes. A lonely high school girl escapes depression and her bullies when she meets the perfect boy online. But is he too good to be true? Now, I had the pleasure of meeting Paul at one of our focus group e-meets where we spoke about this. We spoke a bit about how it's inspired by a very sad true story, but also about what's next to come for Paul. And there's exciting things in the pipeline. I can't say too much, but all I'm going to say is check out this film and then keep an eye on what he's up to, because there's definitely more to come. And then we have Fishing Avocados. This is a mockumentary / dramedy, so something a little bit different for you, something a bit more light-hearted, which is on 12 votes. And this is from Germany, and it's directed by Maxine Rodiger and Julia Muller. When Olivia comes to learn that her ex-boyfriend has left the country to study abroad, she decides to win him back. Because there's never better timing to win someone back than when they're not in the country anymore. So there we go. As you can see by the poster, a lot of fun. Go and check that one out. And now we come to our Trendsetter shorts, which has had a phenomenal response. We've got 559 people watching this programme as we speak in the first 2 weeks of the festival. That's certainly a record-breaking figure for us. Fantastic to see. And lovely to hear how much people are enjoying all these films. So we've had 545 votes placed. We've had 960 playthroughs. So we're going to smash that 1,000 barrier easily. And people are watching from 23 different countries. In fact, people are watching this programme from every single continent, bar Antarctica. So there you go. And in top position is a music video, which is really cool, from the USA, which is Download My Heart in London, which is on 506 votes. This video reflects and expresses the interplay between personal and social interaction in our new digital era, but in a really fun way. So yeah, really nice to see a lot of people getting behind a really cool music video, We love screening music videos and animations and web series, all sorts of different content here at Liftoff. And speaking of experimental, Fight in Motion is currently second place on 24 votes, and this is an experimental short from the UK directed by John Chung. A visceral assault on the senses, Fight in Motion is a short film about the ritual cycle of pain, repetition and renewal that comes with combat sports. So there we go. That was Download My Heart in London, directed by Mo Rebeck, and Fight in Motion, directed by John Chung. And on to then our final programme, our New Voice Shorts, again for emerging talent, where we've got 69 viewers, 643 playthroughs, 47 votes placed so far. And top of that list at the moment is With Her on 9 votes, a UK film directed by Philippa Brocklehurst. And this short is inspired by a true story. With Her explores a young mother's rare moment of stillness and solitude. And then just behind on 5 votes is Life Actually, directed by Natsuko Sagawa from Japan. A woman starts her day with candle meditation at the park. She uses this time to reset herself, to dive into her inner space and reconnect with her true self that is connected to everything. So that brings to a conclusion all of the programmes there from both the Sydney and Melbourne Liftoff Film Festival and London. Really nice to see some of you in the chat. Thanks to Kista Tucker, whose film Tales from Dapple Creek is screening. It's probably more different from most of the other films, so you got something unusual there. Thank you to Zachary Fly and Claire Langford. Thank you so much for joining us. If you signed up for a focus group for London Liftoff, you're going to be sent the details next week as to when to join us if you're available for an e-meet. Really nice opportunity just to actually see people, I was going to say face-to-face, but face-to-face. And we talk all things film careers, find out a little bit more about the projects that are screening in the festival, and then there's an exchanging of feedback. So that's for people who are really engaging with the festival and want to network and collaborate. All information will be sent out, like I said, next week. In the meantime, stay active on the hub, fire away with anything you've got on there, ask fellow people questions, connect with people, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the festival. Final is Chokri Films, who Maduk Tuffend by Life is directed by Shivani M. Vyas, a film which revolves around children with special needs and educators in India. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, have a lovely weekend, everybody. We'll be back on Wednesday with another roundup for London, just in time before Christmas, and the network round announcement for Sydney and Melbourne. Amazing. Thank you so much. Bye.